Hi, welcome to Sefaria's webinar. We're going to be starting in about a minute or two to let people join. I'm Rachel Buckman. If you'd like to, while you're here, if you'd like to put in the chat where you're watching us from, that would be great. We'd love to see who we're talking to. And we're going to give people about a minute to get here before I begin and introduce us. And this webinar is called Sefaria and Google Docs and more. So we're going to be talking about our new Google Doc extension and our Sefaria source sheet editor. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next hour. We'll start in just a minute. If anybody wants to put their name and where they're, or you don't have to put your name, where you're watching from, that would be great. We'd love to see where everybody is. Oh, and now that I clicked the right button, I can see. We have some people from, different places in America. We have Tekoa, Israel. I'm in Jerusalem. We have Miami and Philly, Los Angeles, Connecticut. Thank you for joining us. And I will give just about 30 seconds more for people to get here. Oh, Spain. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Hi, I'm Rachel Buckman. I'm Sefaria's Senior Learning and Support Coordinator, and you don't see her, but I'm also here with Chava Tzemach, who's our Director of Marketing Communications, and she's helping the behind-the-scenes part of tonight, and we'll see her a little bit later. What we're going to be covering in tonight's, or today, depending on where you are, webinar is Sefaria's Sefaria for Google Docs extension, which is brand new, and our new editor, which is not as new, but many people are coming to it new. And so we wanted to have an opportunity to show you how it works. If you have questions while I'm showing you things, please write it in the chat. Chava will be monitoring that. She'll be answering things that have just a short answer. She'll be holding things that, waiting for me to take a break, so that questions that might be for everybody, that everybody would be interested in. We'll be taking several breaks throughout for questions. If at the end your question has still not been answered, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer. And also, if questions arise later on, which they always do when you sit in front of the computer yourself, you can always write to us at hello@sefaria.org, and we will get back to you. So from the beginning of Sefaria, we have strived to create an amazing library with tools for using the library to create your own materials. And people have been doing that. People have been creating source sheets. People share texts in all kinds of different ways. So our library is very large and well structured, and it's used by people all over the world. As you can tell, we have people on this call from all over the world. Many people also use the source sheet editor or other creative ways to share their Torah. So they might want to share a verse, they might want to share a Dvar Torah that they have created, and people are using all kinds of things. And we now have 2 tools for you to use, and these 2 tools leverage Google's wonderful editing and formatting tools. We are great at a Jewish library and getting your texts and translation and the architecture of it, how you move from text to text, helping you to find your texts. And we also want to spend time giving you a platform for making your own work using these texts. But we figure that since Google are really the experts at this, they have thousands and thousands of engineers who work on this. If we can leverage their work and put it together with ours, we will give you a better product, and our engineers can be working on the things that really only we can be doing. So the trick on this, though, is to know what the different tools are, how you would use them, and for you to think, how would you want to use them? Which ones do you want to use? Maybe it depends on what you're trying to create. Maybe it just depends on how you work on your computer. But we feel like if you know how they work and what they can do and what they can't do, then you can make a wise choice and create wonderful things. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I also want to note that we're always developing our products. And so we always strive to improve. We have engineers working on these all the time, and we are always interested in feedback. And we have gotten a lot of feedback. And some of it, I hope, is just that we can straighten it out when people know how to use it. And some of it is things that we take to heart that people want when we know that you want them, and then we will be working on them. So we're going to start with Sefaria for Google Docs. And I'm going to share my screen. The rest of the time, actually, I'm going to share my screen. And so I'm not going to, well, I can't see you anyway, but I'm going to share my screen. You can write your comments. As I said, Chava will ask the questions. So this is a Google Doc that was made with our Google Docs extension. So I just put some things on here to show you what it could look like. Now, I didn't do a lot with formatting. I'm sure you all can make much more attractive docs than I do. But I can write whatever I want. I can use all the formatting. I can highlight. I can change the font, the color of the font. I can do advanced outlining. This is something that our source sheet editor, you can number, but you can't do the advanced outlining of like a 1 and an A and a little 1. And the same thing with bullets, where we can do bullets, but you're not going to be doing as advanced of that. So if you want to be, if your sheet that you're, whatever it is that you're creating, you want that, then this extension would be for you. You can decide on the Google Doc extension, you can decide if you want a Hebrew text, an English text, a bilingual text. If it's bilingual, do you want it stacked the way this one is, or do you want them side by side? You can decide source by source, which is something, again, that you can't do in the editor. You can also link, it links to our library, and you might decide that I don't want to put the whole selection there, but I want the people who are reading my sheet, maybe I'm emailing it to them, and I want them to be able to open a text in the library, so it will automatically link it. I will show you how it does that. And so if I click on the link, it will open the text in the library. So that's a second thing that the Google Docs extension can do. And the third thing is it can also, you can decide how you want the divine name displayed, and you can change it. And I'm going to show you all of that. So this just gives you an idea, a very tip of the iceberg idea, because all of you probably are very good Googlers and you know how to use Google Docs and to make things pretty. You can add images, you can add anything that you can do to a regular Google Doc. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Oh, and I wanted to say, which I didn't before, that I made a source sheet for this session, and it has some really important links on it. It has links to the help sheets, and also some of the things we have to do, we have to install them. So it gives links to that. We are going to be sending this out with the recording in the next day or so. So I think Chava's putting the link in the chat, but don't worry if you forget it, because we're going to send it to you. So I'm going to go to a different screen. And this is, if you click on that link, it takes you to the Google Workspace Marketplace. And you look for Sefaria for Google Docs, or on our sheet, we just have the link. It takes you right here. So on this account that I have, I don't have the extension, so I'm going to install it now. This is the first thing that you're going to do, is you're going to install it. I'm going to choose my account, and I'm going to continue. And I trust Sefaria, so I'm going to click allow. And And now I'm done. I have it on my Google Doc. So here's a Google Doc. I'm going to refresh it because when I opened it first, I didn't have it. So this is where you find the extensions. And some of you maybe have other extensions. Some of you have never seen an extension before. So what you do is you open your Google Doc and you click on oh, and it didn't come. Wait a second. Let me try that again. Well, never does it when you're doing it in front of a bunch of people. So I'm going to just go to my other account that already has it on. It might be because we're streaming and all of that. So I'm going to do a new Google Doc. This one has it. Okay, now we're going to do it. And I'm going to click on extensions. And you see here it has Sefaria for Google Docs. That's what will happen when you do it at home. And the first thing that I can choose is add sources with Sefaria. So I'm going to click that. And it's going to take a second to open up on the side. And again, this always takes longer when you're also doing something like streaming. Okay, and I'm going to search for the text. So I'd like to add to my Google Doc, I would like to add the first 3 verses of this week's Parsha, Parshat Re'eh, which is Deuteronomy 11:26-28. So I'm going to just start typing Deuteronomy. It gives me a drop down. So I don't have to do it all. I'm just going to click. And I said I wanted 11 and I want 26 through 28. Those are the first 3. Now I have a choice. Do I want Hebrew only? Do I want bilingual stacked, one above the other? Or do I want bilingual side by side? Or do I want English only? So I'm going to take bilingual stacked. That's my first choice. My second choice is I can choose what translation I want. Since I asked for a bilingual source, I'm going to choose, and I have all of these, and actually they're not all English because we have other languages. I could do German, I could do French. I'm going to do the Koran Jerusalem Bible, and I've now requested that. It's switched to that translation, and now I'm going to click Add Source, and there it is. It is on my sheet. Now, what's really nice about being on a Google Doc is that now I can edit whatever I want. I might say, this is a little small, so I might want to make it bigger. Maybe I think that the English is fine, but I need my Hebrew bigger, so I can just change that. I can highlight, I can do anything that you can do. You can do with that. So highlighting within a text is something that you cannot do on the new editor, but I can do it here in a Google Doc. And each text that I add, let's say I want to add another text, each text that I add is a new beginning, and I get to make all these choices again. So let's say I do Exodus 3:1-3. Now, let's say that I do want, maybe I want just Hebrew only. So I can do Hebrew only, and then click, and now I have a Hebrew only text. So every text, it's a new beginning. So that's the basic. And also, I didn't show you this. Also, I can type anything else anywhere I want. So here I'm typing, I'm going to introduce the text below. I can type whatever I want, any place that I want. I forgot to put a title on it. So I have all of the usual, I'm going to close this so that I get all of my bars. So now this is my title. And I just save it the way it's saved automatically, but I can put there's my title. And anything you can do on a Google Doc, you can do here. So I'm going to take 1 second of a break, and I will take any questions if we have any about adding a text from the Sefaria library to a Google Doc using the Google Doc extension. Chava, do we have any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions coming up right now.
Okay, then I'm going to keep going.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, wait, so we've got one question.
Okay.
Is there a way to browse the library?
Okay, so you probably are used to the old editor where you could do that. Here, you're not really going to browse it in the same way. I mean, you could, but basically you're going to want to know what you want. So for instance, let's say I want Mishnah Brachot. So I'm going to do this. Oh, that's Bechorot. Okay. Well, okay. So let's do that. And I do 3 because it always seems to do 3. I can browse and see, is this what I want? And I can do it. I can also put the English here so that if I want to see this is what 3 is, and I can, 3, this is the chapter. So here's the second Mishnah. I can do limited browsing. I can, but maybe not what you were used to, but yeah, yes and no. Yeah. It's also good to know what the source is. And sometimes you might want to go into the library. So I would open another tab and go into Sefaria, and I might not know exactly like what I'm looking for. I might not know exactly what it's called. So I could do this, and then I would see that up here, it's going to tell me what it's called. It's called Brachot. And here, if I look in the URL, it's Brachot 4a2. So I might look at that and then say, okay, I'm going to put, let's change this. Let's put this in Talmud Brachot. I forgot what I said, what it was, but maybe I said 4a2. Well, and here it is. So I might need to go back sometimes. And sometimes this is something, as long as we're being open about it. A negative of this one sometimes is that with certain things like a Sidur or some of the other things that have very, very long titles, it might be harder to find it that way. And then basically what I do is you can also fall back on the good old cut and paste. So I can copy and paste, and I'm going to put it here. And so it's also going to be there. It's not going to be the same as the others, but another thing that you can't do, I don't know if you wanted to do this. I've never wanted to do this, but I do know that you'll get an error message, is if you add a text to a table. So let's say you made a table, you added a table to your Google Doc and you want to put the text in. That's something that right now you can't do. But other than that, I don't think you're really going to come up with error messages. You're going to be able to add your texts, and it's going to be great.
And
okay.
Related to that table error, someone is asking how, if you wanted to remove the boxes that these sources come in, can you do that?
No, but if I wanted to remove the box, I would just copy and paste it from the library the way I did this Talmud text. I mean, that's another way to do it.
Can you copy it from inside the box and paste it outside the box? Does that work?
Oh, well, let's see. I would think so. Whoops. Copy. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that.
Just a couple other questions.
Yes.
Are coming up here. A very common question we get: where are the verse numbers?
I was hoping someone would ask that. I asked that when I first saw it. This is something that we are discussing. This is not official. I think that we will be having them in the future. We don't have them right now. It does strip the verse numbers. I know for some people that's a deal breaker, but you also could add them, yourself. So, whoops, here's Aleph. I could do this, and then if I want to, well, this one, I see where I would need to make this bigger, but that's because I have older eyes. But I also could, if I wanted to, I could also put them all on, each on a different line, or I could put it in the middle, or I messed up on this one. Okay. So yeah, I could do like that. I could put them in. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that will come later. So
Great.
Don't fret too much yet.
And one person asked, and I think this is something we learned at Sefaria recently, which is, what is the difference between an admin install and an individual install? So if you're seeing the option for an admin install, it sounds like you're an admin for a larger Google account. So at Sefaria, all of our email addresses that are mine is chava@sefaria.org, is actually goes through Gmail. So when an admin for all of Sefaria's Google accounts goes to install, they can admin install for everyone on that Google account.
Right, which for me, I wanted to uninstall because I wanted to show you how to install. And I found that on my Rachel at Sefaria, I couldn't uninstall it because it was admin installed. And that's why I had to switch over before to my private Google account, because I could remove it. So yeah, so that's what that's about. But
Great.
it is
And
nice if you're at a synagogue or you're at a school and you want to install it for everybody, or you have students and you want to install it for everybody, the admin install is a great thing because you don't have to walk them all through it. You just do it for them.
and then I see some other questions about formatting within the Google Doc. You can use any Google Doc formatting options. Once the text is in your Google Doc, you can do whatever you want with it.
And that is the real beauty of this, because again, to bring our source sheet editor up to a Google Doc, which is what everybody expects, because once you have that, why would you not want that? That takes so many people that we don't, so this is our way. Our engineers said, wait a second, we can just do this as an extension. That way you get the best of both worlds. So this is, I think this is a really great way to go. Can I show you two more things that you can do while you're here? Chava, can I keep going?
Sure. Yeah, let's keep going.
So that was adding a text. So there's two more things that you can do. I recommend doing both of these things at the end because it's going to do it for your whole sheet. So if you do it early, then and you add more, then you're going to have to just do it again. So I would do all my writing, all my adding, all my stuff. And then, I wanted to do this. So let's say I tell my people that I'm writing for to see Joshua 1 through 5. Okay, so I'm done with my sheet. I can link everything. So I'm going to click here again. This is my extension, Sefaria for Google Docs, link texts with Sefaria, and it even tells you what it's going to be doing. All citations found in your document that match a text in the Sefaria library will be made into a link to the text. So I want that to happen. So I click link text. It searches the whole thing and it sees any citation. So it sees even, here's the one that we added, but now it's linked. So if I were to click on it, it would open another tab and I'd be in the library. Here, there was one within this is the Steinsaltz translation and explanation, and it puts the text. And this is really, really great because oftentimes it's not the whole verse, or I don't remember, that was from 2 Samuel, but I don't remember what the context was, so I can click on it. This is great for learners. I can click on it, and then I can be right in the library. And here is this example that I gave you where I just don't want to add the whole thing here, but I want people to be able to go see it. So that was with one click, I did everything. And you have to write it, in the proper way, which is pretty much the way you're probably used to with Sefaria anyway. And if it doesn't link, then you should go back to see where it is in the library and see how we referenced it, and then use that. So that is that's a second thing that you can do. And the third thing, as I had mentioned, is the divine name, which I don't know. I hope, yeah, I did. I needed to have a text that has it. So you go again, just the way you did before, Sefaria for Google Docs, transform divine names, and you have these are the same choices that you're probably used to when you make a source sheet. And I can choose what I want, and I click on it, and it will change my whole, sheet. And here it is here. Here, I'll make it bigger for you. There, right there. You can see that I can't highlight it now because I made it big, but I made it, I changed it. And if I had it, they're all the way through. I mean, I don't think I have a lot of them here, and not spending time to look for, here's another one. Elohim. So it changed it there. And it'll do it for the whole document. So you'd want to do that at the end. So I'd like to just point out, besides the ones I've already pointed out, of what the great advantages of this. You can use all of the editing tools. Another one that I think is such a huge advantage, because I'm the person who gets when you write in and something bad has happened, and like you deleted something and you didn't mean to, and you wanted to go back in your source sheet and you write, and I have to say, I'm sorry, you can't go back. Well, with a Google Doc, you can always go back. So, if I deleted something by mistake, you just use your little back button, your undo button, and there it is. And even if 2 days from now I say, I like what I had before, you can, how you do it on Google, you can go back to an earlier version. So you don't lose anything ever on a Google Doc. And I can't say that about a Sefaria source sheet. So I think that's something really good. And you just have so many options. So this is what we're really excited, as you can tell, we're really excited to offer this to people as a way to make sheets. I think it answers a lot of the questions or a lot of the feedback that we got from people of things that they maybe didn't like about the editor. So I will stop again for questions about the extension, and then we're going to move on to the editor. And I'll show you how you do that, and also how you can use Google Docs with the editor. That will also help to make up for some of the things that you can't do on a sheet. So Chava, do we have any questions?
I'm not seeing any right now, but if anyone has questions, please share them in the chat.
Okay, then I'm going to move on to the new editor. And I'm going to move on to the new editor. So on the sheet that we sent you, which I think is here, yep. So on here, here you have all the stuff that I talked about first, with a help sheet, a link to the help sheet. And for the editor, down here, it says to use it, you click the link. So you click the link and it will enable the editor. You do it once. You can go back to the old editor. I don't really recommend it. I recommend that we all start using the new editor. So you're going to do that, and I already have the new editor on my account. So I'm just going to go and create a new sheet. This is the way you did it with the old editor. You just create a new sheet. And again, it's taking a second because we're streaming. There it is. So people look at this. A lot of people look at this, and then they write to me and they say, what do you do? So first of all, I want to say that we have a whole help center, and not just for this, but for every aspect of Sefaria. If you click on the question mark, you will get to the help center, and we have instructions for using Sefaria for Google Docs. So it explains everything that I just showed you, and making a source sheet on the new editor. So that's one thing definitely that you can do. But because you're here today, I'm just going to show you. So with the new editor, one of the things that is very, very different is that there's only one mode. With the old editor, you had to go into edit mode, and then you'd go into library view. And so you didn't know exactly what it was going to look like until you went into library view. And you also had these modules. So you had to do one thing for a source and one thing for something else. On the new editor, it's really like a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc. You just do it on the doc. So we're going to just call it something. So we're going to call it the sample sheet. Very, very creative of me. Okay, and so there we have it. It's all saved. I didn't have to do anything. I did that just to move the title there. And then I can just start writing. So I click anywhere I want, I can click. So this is the new source sheet editor. Great. Now I want to add a source. So I'm going to do the same thing. I want to add those first 3 verses from Parshat Re'eh, which is this week's Parsha. So you see that I have this plus. So I click on the plus, and I have 3 options. I have this quotation marks, that's add a source. The middle one is add an image, and the last one is add media. So we're going to add a source. So I'm going to click on it, and I do the same thing. It's the same box. Oops, I spelled it wrong though. DEUX. There we go. Deuteronomy. Of course, we had to do this on the hardest spelling book. So we do Deuteronomy. We want 11, 26 to 28. It's going to show it to me right now. It must be that my my sheet is set to English only. That's what it's showing me. I'm going to click add source, but it always adds the full text. And it is always going to add the default translation if I add it from within the sheet. That's what I just did, is called adding the text from within the sheet. I can choose how I want to view it. I could have just the Hebrew. I could have the English. I can have bilingual, but that's really just a viewing thing. The truth is that it added the whole text, like right there. Now, if I want to edit the text, I would double click or select, however, and it only gives me 3 choices. If it's a text from the library, I can do bold, italics, or underline. And as we said, in the extension, I could do anything. I can't make it bigger. There's a lot of things I can't do. I have those 3 choices. So then let's say I want to explain this text. So I'm going to click on the bottom here, and now I have more blank. I don't need to do the plus because I want to just do my typing. And I'm going to, I'm explaining the text above. Okay, so now I can edit. I have more editing, more formatting options, but I still don't have everything. I have bold, italics, underline. I have highlight. I only have these colors, so I can do that. I can also, I can do this is to add a link. You have to add the link last. Once you add a hyperlink, then you can't do anything else. This is a header, making it like a headline. This is numbering, and this is bullets. And those are the choices that I have for adding a text or for formatting on this sheet. So I can do that any place that I want. I could now, if I get another one of these pluses, I could add another text. It's hard for me. I can't scroll down too far, and I have this thing that says that I'm sharing my screen. So I'm going to ignore that. So
Rachel,
I could add another text.
Rachel, if you just hit hide on that little box.
Oh, because you guys can see it too? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it's always good for me to have I'll be your tech support, but I have someone who's my tech support. Okay, I can add an image. So I click on here. This is going to be an image that I have saved to my computer. I saved an apple. And there it is. There's my image. And I also can save I can also add a YouTube video. So this is one of my favorite songs from the Bonai family. So I'm going to just copy the URL, and now I'm going to click on the plus and do the last one, which is like the little YouTube sign, and I'm going to paste it in and click add, and now I have this beautiful song. So these are
a couple clarifications about some of these options here.
Yes.
When you are adding an image to your sheet, please make sure that you have the rights to that image. So either you took the image, you created it, or it has an open license on it.
And I made very sure that this apple, there were much cooler apples but they weren't in the public domain. So I had to settle for this apple.
Yes.
It's still nice.
Yeah, we cannot be violating copyright within source sheets on the site. It is part of our terms of service. With videos, I believe the only way to add a video is from YouTube, and they do link back to the original YouTube. So at that point, there's not a copyright issue for videos.
And the way, just as before, it will play within the sheet. So, I mean, this is nice. Not the song I picked. I just felt in the mood to put that. But sometimes if I were doing something like a real sheet, I would maybe be putting, like maybe with Rosh Hashanah coming up, I would be putting Avinu Malkeinu. I'd put the text, and then I would put, Barbara Streisand doing, and maybe several other people. I could be doing a whole bunch of different versions of Avinu Malkeinu. And that's really nice because you can play it, and then the people can go back up to the text and follow along. So that's also really nice. So that's how I add things. I will show you, I'm going to add another text just so I can show you how I delete a text, because that's a big question we get. So I'm going to put Mishnah Brachot. This time I'm going to do the right one, and I'll do 1, 1. Probably need a space there. Okay, so I'm going to look, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to add the source. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, okay. There it is. Okay, so now I want to, whoa, it's long. So now I would like to delete it. So there's 2 ways I can delete it. I can click on it to select it. You can see that it's darker blue. And then on my keyboard, I click delete and it's gone. So that's one way. That's pretty much the easiest way to do it. I'm going to put something shorter this time. I'll put, I'll go back to the Shmot one. I'll just do a very short verse. And I'm going to add the source. And the other way is if I put my cursor below it, you see how it's flashing, and then I click delete twice. 1, whoops, 2, and then it's gone. So those are the 2 ways I can delete a source. You can move them around. You have to slide them. Sometimes people find this to be tricky. Well, it's going to be tricky now with what I'm doing, but let me see if I go above. Yeah, above was easier. Below, I just had a problem because of what I'm doing here. So I can put it above, I can put it below. Another way to do it, which is easier, is I can just cut and paste. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to paste it to the top, and there it is. So you'll have to figure out what works for you. If I click these, the dots, the vertical dots, I have how I would share it. I can publish it. I can share it. And when I can change the divine name, and I don't think that this, yeah, it does. I can share, so I'll show you that. And I want to substitute, and so I'll do that. And it substitutes, and you'll notice it also substitutes on the English. So that's good. And so I can do that if I'd like. And when I'm all done, which I'm going to actually show you one more thing, because sometimes people want to have their preferred translation. And as I said, if you do it from within the sheet, it's going to only give you the translation of the default translation. So I'm going to show you how I can add it from the library, and then it will, I can choose. So I need to find a text that has a lot of different translations. So I'm going to pick just this this verse. Actually, I don't know if the translation is going to be any different. So yeah, sure. So let's say I would like to use the Everett Fox translation. So first of all, I'm going to change it in the library. So if you see, what I did was I went to translations. This is all the time in the library. And then I went to the Everett Fox, click select. And now you can tell up here, it tells you the Shotgun Bible Everett Fox. So now we know that we have, that's the translation I want. So now I'm going to take any verse here. I'll take 2 so that I can show you. I just select it with the resource panel open, and then I click add to sheet. And the first one should be my most recent sheet. If I click the down arrow, I'll have all my sheets, but I want to add it to the sample sheet, and I click add to sheet. And I can either open it by clicking here where it says sample sheet, but that'll open a new tab. I already have it open. So I'm just going to refresh here. Okay. And it should be at the bottom. And yeah, we can tell that this is the Everett Fox translation. So if I were to go back, you would see that this is the Everett Fox translation. So that's the way you would add a translation that you choose. You have to do it from the library and then put it in, or you can use the extension and do it that way. Okay, so now let's say I'm all done and I would like to print it, or yeah, I would like to print it. So what we really recommend, there is a print option here, but what we recommend is that you export to Google Docs. So you click in the resource panel, export to Google Docs. The first time it'll have you pick your, it'll have you pick which account and all that, but I've already done it. Now it says export complete, open in Google. And I'm gonna open it, and here is my sheet. Now, my video didn't go over, but now what I can do is I can edit it. It's got everything that if I want to do, I want to highlight, I can just do anything that I want, anything that you can do on a Google Doc. And also, if I see that this, maybe I want to make this smaller so that it will fit in the page above, I can do that. I can just do anything that you can do on a Google Doc. Sometimes people say they got funny stuff going on here, like squares or the nikud, the vowels are wrong. That's a problem with the font that you're using. And so what you need to do is select the whole thing and pick a different font until you find a font that works well with this. So it's not a problem. It actually did export everything properly, but you might have it set to a font that is not compatible. But here it is. So so that's what you do is you, and then you can, as I said, do all the editing you want. So I'm going to stop. Well, no, I'm not going to stop my share because in case you have questions, but I do want to say that you can see how joining together the Sefaria library and some of our tools and Google together, how it works together so nicely to allow you to really, really make beautiful materials that everybody's going to want to learn from. So questions about the editor? Do we have any?
Sorry, I was muted. We do have questions.
Okay.
So I think you answered, we had questions about using a different translation,
Yes.
and you answered that you do it within the library.
Oh, and just I want to interrupt, is all of these instructions are in the help sheet, which again, you're either going to find it on the sheet that we're going to send you or in this help center. All of it is with pictures, so you can, because we do not expect that anyone's going to be able to sit down from this and just do it. Because I know when I do that, I sit down and all the stuff I thought I knew from the person who taught me goes away. So we have help sheets that take you through step by step.
Okay, so within a source sheet,
Yes.
With the new editor, can you reorder your sources?
You can. I think tried to show you before that sometimes it can be tricky. We don't have that, like those up and down arrows. You would have to drag it. So I can do it. And again, I don't know. Oh, there, yeah, I can. Let's say I want to come back. I want to put it. Well, this is what. Okay, let's say I want to put it right here. So I put it right there. But it's a little clunky. So another way to do it would be to cut it and paste it into where you want it.
Okay. Translations that you're adding that have like a little asterisk and a note, can you add that without the notes?
It will add, if you're in the new editor, it will add without the footnote. Now, if you want to ask if you can add it with a footnote, which is something that we do get asked, no, what you would do then is you would find it in the library, open the footnotes, copy and paste. But it should add it. I mean, I've been playing around with that because people have been writing about that. That's a question that just today came in a few times. If you're in the new editor, it's going to add it without the footnotes.
And how does the Google Docs extension handle footnotes?
Oh, that's a very good question. I believe it does it without also. These two are kind of linked in a lot of the sort of things that they have. You're gonna have to play with it because I'm sorry, I don't off the top of my head, and I need to find a text quickly that has footnotes. So I think you're gonna just have to try it. But my guess, my hunch is that it does it without the footnotes.
Okay, and in the Google Docs extension,
Yes.
how do you change the formatting of your texts, of your sources, if you wanted to have it bilingual in different ways?
Okay, so I'll just do that one more time. I'm going to put it, you can do this anywhere you want. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to click on extensions and do the Sefaria for Google Docs. And I'm going to add my source. And I'm going to search for, I'm going to put, just because we have a lot of translations in Tanakh, I'm going to pick a Torah source. So this time we'll go Genesis. And we'll do, it seems to want me to do 3:6, so we'll do that. So here, it will just pop up for you. So it will say, there's a drop-down menu, Hebrew only. No, let's say I would like bilingual, but I'd like it side by side. So I click side by side, and then the next thing it pops up for me is that because I chose bilingual, or if I chose English, it would give me the choices of the translations. And maybe this one I want in Russian, because who doesn't? And so I'm going to click that. And now I'm going to add the source. And it's going to give me what I asked. It's going to give it to me side by side, bilingual, Hebrew, and Russian.
Great. And once you add a source, you can't then change if it's side by side or stacked. You have to choose that before you add the source.
Yeah. So if I change my mind, I don't like it, I would delete it. And now I still have it right here. Now, you know what? I really would like it stacked. So I'm going to put it there, and it's going to pop up. Now here it is stacked. You're going to play around with this, and you're going to, figure out what you like, what your style is. But it really is quite easy to use. So, yeah, I really hope you all like this a lot, because I personally like it a lot. And I've probably been one of the first users of the new editor, and I've been using it for years. So it's not so new for me. I think there too, I mean, as long as you understand what it does and what it doesn't do, or the things that it doesn't do that maybe you're going to do them once you finish the sheet and export it to Google, I think you find it very easy. Now, when I go back to the old editor and I have to do something, I'm like so confused with all those different modules. And if I want to edit, and I got to be in edit mode, and I have to click on it, and and then I'm like, oh, you know what? You got to give it a chance. I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to see how it works, you really have to go all in, give it a chance, try it a little bit. You can go back, but I don't recommend that you do, because there could be a time when there is no going back. So I would try to see if you could get to love the new editor. I do. So, I welcome you to try it and join me in the new editor fan club.
Great. Any other questions? Happy to answer more questions.
And if there aren't more questions, then I'm going to stop my share, although now I don't know where it is because I got rid of the hide. Can you tell me how I stop my share now?
I'll do it for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I will if someone gets another questions, but I want to thank you for coming. And also, you will receive that sheet with the recording, and you're also going to receive a survey, and it would be really, really helpful. It's a very short survey. I think it only has 3 questions, and it would be very helpful to us if you take the couple seconds and do that. Oh, could we demonstrate changing the margins of the table of the sources in Google Docs? So you're saying like you made it in the source sheet or with the extension?
I think in the Google Docs extension, when you add a source, it's in a table in those boxes.
Yes.
And I think he's asking to change the size of those boxes.
Have you ever done that?
I haven't personally, but we could try it.
I think we should do it. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to share my screen again. And tell me when we are. And then I'll try.
You're good to go.
Okay, so we want to try. Oh, look at that. Okay, so just the way you would on a Google Doc. So I just hovered till I got that. I don't know what you call that. And now I'm pulling it to the side. And there's a bunch of things, all the regular Google things. You can move it. Oh, here's how you move it on the extension. You can move it. Oh boy, that's easy. So yeah, because again, you have all of you can pin the header up to this row. Don't know what that means, but whatever you guys are probably masters at Google Docs. So all the things you can do there, you can do here. But yes, you can change you can make it smaller too, if you want. You can change the margins. Is there anything else?
Any other questions?
And if you have questions later on, please write to us, hello@sefaria.org. You'll get me. I will answer you back. I will try within 24 hours to answer your questions. They're really, any question is, don't worry if I explained it and you still have a question, because of course you do. So I would also. So and just try it. And I think and we'd love to hear feedback, good or bad, about how you feel about it, because you're going to end up being the first people to be, in the first group of people who are using this, because you came to the first webinar on this. And so, if we'd love to hear if you think we're on the right track, we're on the wrong track. It would be great if it just had this one thing. And we record all of that and let our product and engineering teams know. And we try to figure out what's really best for everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Chava, for helping out.
Yeah, looks like we have a couple final questions that I can hopefully answer for you. We had a question about how to use Google Docs better. I would recommend doing a Google search for Google Docs how-to. Google has lots of help materials that can share with you how to use Google Docs better. And we have a question about sharing your sheets. So on Sefaria, if you create a sheet, you can make it public, right? So people can find it. With Google Docs, these are private, personal to you. You can share the link to your Google Doc with people. And in that case, I would recommend that you do it. Sorry, Rachel, can you show on Google Docs?
On Google Docs, how to share a URL?
Yeah, so there's actually a way, if you click share.
Oh yeah.
You can change it so that general access, change it so anyone with the link, if you
This
click
is because I'm on my Sefaria account, but you wouldn't have that.
Anyone with the link, and then you can change it to viewer or anything. I recommend keep it on viewer or commenter. If you put it on editor, someone will be able to change the content of your sheet.
Although if you're co-creating with somebody, so you're only sharing it, I wouldn't do it anyone with the link. I would do it, just put the link, and you might want to be doing it together.
Exactly. So I hope that answers your question. All right. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you try it out and let us know what you think.
Great. Bye, everyone.
Bye.